Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the J Lounge. Of course, you guys know I am the hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson, here to bring you guys another wonderful episode of the J Lounge. Of course, you guys know we are a celebrity podcast show where we talk with entertainers, actors, directors, singers, you name it. They all come down here and we all have a really great time. Of course, you guys know I'm always super excited to be introducing my next guest, and I'm very excited to be introducing my next guest to you guys. He's got quite the extensive list. If he was the first Indian American to walk the Latin Grammys red carpet, and we're definitely going to talk about that because I think that is amazing. He also started his rock and metal band, and he also even got advice from a young Rob Zombie that I'm also going to get talked about because I love Rob Zombie, and he is just an amazing artist, and I am super excited he's here today. Everyone, please give a super warm welcome to Anand Bhatt. Hi, Anand.
What's going on, Simone?
Hi, how are you?
Awesome, great. I'm visiting my folks right now at their house, and it's great. It's just great to catch up with family and whatnot. When you don't get to. Although COVID lockdown was great when that was going on because we got to see only family all the time. But now it's great to get to see him again, right? Because you miss him again.
Yes. Oh my goodness! But I am super excited to be speaking with you. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I really appreciate that.
Oh, you bet. This is fun. Your show sounds fun.
Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and get to the first question for you, Anand. I did mention earlier in the introduction you are a music artist. I want to know what began actually your passion for music.
Oh wow. You know what? As long as I can remember, I've always connected with music. Somewhere there are baby vids of me jamming out. I swear to God. So
yes.
My parents like to tell this story that when I was like 2 years old, and we're all in an airport gate in Mexico waiting for a flight. And apparently I couldn't stand the wait, and I decided to get up and start singing and entertaining everyone at the airport.
Yes.
So apparently little narcissistic 2-year-old me was on it the whole time.
First of all, I would have had my phone. I'd be like, look at this future star in the making. You see this? Come on, this is how Michael Jackson got started. This is a future bright star in the making. Come on, you guys. That is awesome. And I'm so glad 2-year-old you had the confidence to go, you know what? I'm going to take this. I'm going to make this my stage. Someone give me a mic. I'm ready for this. I'm ready. I love it. I love it. I'm excited to fire my second question at you because like I said, you got quite some stories. But one story that I would love to hear is that you actually got to hear Stevie Wonder, greatness, by the way, sing at a Common after party. I want to know what happened that night and what promoted Stevie Wonder to start singing.
Oh my gosh! First of all, you are well researched. I don't. Right. This is man. That party was crazy. All right, let me put myself back in that night so I don't miss a moment, because it is hard to explain, right? There's some Stevie Wonder, right? Like it's Stevie Wonder, right?
It is Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, craziness. So it's Grammys, obviously. Latins are regular, no, it's regulars, so it's Commons. So Commons throwing this Grammy after party, not too far from Staples Center at this like a Copa style lounge or something like that, right? So it's a very small private after party. We're all kind of hanging out, and Common, there's a little stage area where Common showed off, some stuff from a new album he had coming out, right? So there is a little stage area there. But the rest of it's just, a bunch of people mingling in a room and hanging out after the awards, right? So we're all kind of tired and we're all celebrating, and it's a great time. And there's a lot of people there, right? And Stevie Wonder's walking around, Common's done performing, right? So it's just quiet. It's just people talking and hanging out. And you could kind of see on the look of his face. Well, first of all, you must be, being Stevie Wonder, the only conversation anybody ever has with him is, "Oh my God, you're Stevie Wonder," right? Like he's not, I mean, that's all I said to him, right? Like there's no, I doubt that guy gets real conversations ever, right?
Thank you for acknowledging that. Thank you so much for acknowledging that. Go on.
So I think he was getting a little bored, to be honest with you. And because, that must drive him nuts. And we're all like half his age, even though I'm in my 40s. I don't know how old Stevie Wonder is, but he's been around my entire life. He's been amazing, right? And I mean, I'm old enough to where my favorite Stevie Wonder moment is on the Cosby Show. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say Cosby on the air anymore, but I love that episode still, no matter what.
Yes.
And so he you could see it. You could see it. He's I mean, I can't say he's looking around, his head's moving around the room. And he finds it, he's just up in the middle. People are talking to him. And I think he had this forget this attitude, like I'm bored. He jumps up where there's a little piano type area on this little small area where Common was, and he just starts singing. And he's jamming out. So obviously it's Stevie Wonder. So the whole room very quickly shuts up, right? And I'm not kidding you, like he's a few feet away from me, 5 tops, right? And there he is, and he's just singing, and he kept singing, and we're talking multiple songs. It was a full-on private Stevie Wonder concert, and he was just jamming out. And I think that's just what he does. That's just what he knows how to do in a social situation. Stevie Wonder knows how to entertain others, right? That's just what he does. And so, when in doubt, might as well, feel your way to a piano and start singing. It was so good. I mean, there's no sound guys. There's nothing, right? Simone, it was so good. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Oh my
like this guy earned his chops, right? Like it's not like our generation. I mean, I gotta admit, we've got producers putting effects on our voices, right? Like it's a whole different world. This guy, I mean, it was jaw-dropping amazing. It's just amazing.
Oh my God. First of all, to be able to breathe the same air as Common and Stevie Wonder, that is, and it is a compliment in itself. I mean, whoa.
Yeah,
but
that was fun enough, right? Yeah.
Right? But to actually see, because Stevie Wonder is a once in a lifetime artist. Dude. And to see a once in a lifetime artist in his element is mind-blowing. I mean, you can't get any more pure voice than Stevie Wonder. He has no effects, no nothing. This is just his man just opening up his mouth, and then there goes greatness.
There goes. And it was exactly crazy. Everyone was captivated, right? I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it was such a surreal moment, right? My publicists were jaw dropped, right? Because they're too busy working with media and stuff like that, right? So they have fun when they have time to have fun, right? But they were just jaw. I should have asked them to not charge me for that month just for
yeah, for real. Oh my God. Well, to one amazing night to another. As I said earlier in my introduction, going on to number 3 question, you were the first Indian American to walk the Latin Grammy red carpet. What was that experience like for you?
Unexpected. I know I'm supposed to say something totally arrogant there, but if I'm going back to it, and I can relive it, right? I mean, the first time, and I've gotten to do it a couple times, and I can be a little each subsequent time feels a little bit more like work because you're used to it, right? But that first time is really cool because I'm really fortunate that the Latin community kind of accepted me.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I'm an Indian American guy that occasionally sings in Spanish, right? Or maybe half and half, right? I think half my albums are in Spanish. But it's the fact that they were cool about it to the point where I had a whole career around it and got to meet a lot of my idols because I listened to a lot of Latin music, right? And so a lot of my idols I got to meet. I'm super excited to meet them. And I didn't really notice that it was anything crazy special. Obviously you're there and you're like, wow, this is really cool, but you're working, right? You've got media lined up and it's in a foreign language, right? So I got my head in the game, right? But I turned this corner on the carpet. It was at Mandalay Bay in Vegas is where they had the Latin Grammys there. And the red carpet technically was green because Heineken was the sponsor, but the carpet like veered around in little curves before you opened up to the big, right? So you have some media interviews and it opens up to this big one where, there's like crowds and like the bigger cameras. And as you walk into the awards.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
And I turn this corner and so it's just me, my publicist, and then whatever, they're in a row, right? It's almost like junkets, right? You go from one media outlet to the other to one after another. And it's just kind of that, it's a very closed environment. Then you turn this corner and they've got like people from the public on bleachers getting to watch. And suddenly I hear my name get screamed out. And that has never actually happened. I mean, that's never happened to me at the regular Grammys, right? Like that's it was super cool. And I'm like, what
Oh
is
my
going on?
God.
Right. You should have seen the shock look on my face. I don't know if anyone's got a picture of that, but there's this shock look on my face of, of people screaming my name as I turn that corner. And they're Latin music fans, right? So I feel extra special. Like I feel extra accepted, right? When that scene not only invites you in, but accepts you and then likes what you
Yeah.
do, right? It's really flattering, and
Oh my
it was kind of
God.
unexpected, right? And I got to meet all my heroes, and I got to walk in with Usher and Romeo Santos, right? Like that
Oh
was
my God.
right, like
Just to name a few people, yeah.
oh man. And that was a really cool experience. And I kind of feel bad for Romeo Santos, even though I was a huge Romeo Santos fan. I was kind of like, oh my God, it's Usher, right? So I think I paid a little more attention to Usher. Um,
I
there's
completely.
this picture floating around from the carpet where they're next. I'm in between the two of them where they're talking, and I think Usher's saying something to me. You got to see it. Maybe you can Google it. Maybe it's on Wiki Commons or something. But it's hilarious because like in this picture, it's clearly that Romeo Santos is looking off the distance and Usher saying something to me, and I'm looking off the thing, and I'm clearly only talking to Usher, right? I feel
Like
bad for
only
saying this because
talking to Usher.
I'm such a huge Romeo Santos and Aventura fan, right? And I feel really stupid that it probably took me a whole minute to realize he was Romeo Santos standing next to me because I'm talking to Usher, right? Like it was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. First of all, you were so me. If I met my idol, but then there's Usher. I'm sorry. Hang on. I got to take a second to acknowledge that's Usher over there.
Totally
I'm
right.
sorry. I just have to take this moment. That's Usher. Oh my God.
Yeah, and imagine he's talking to you and stuff, right? Like, and you're like, oh, wow,
My
how do I
mind,
keep
I'm
my
so
cool? I'm like your peer for 10 minutes, right? Like,
oh God. I'm
right?
like,
So
listen, I'm
like
so sorry, Mr. Santos, but there is Usher. I need to take this moment. I really need to take this moment. When am I going to see Usher again? I don't know, but I need to take
exactly,
this moment.
exactly.
That is so me. 100%. That is so me. I love it. Well, what an amazing experience to be able to walk the Latin Grammys and red carpet. I mean, that is groundbreaking, and it just shows you that it's just it's music is opening up to other cultures and other worlds, and we're accepting it, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
I
and I
love it.
love that. I love that, especially about the Latin community. With the regular Grammys, it sounds weird to call them that, but if you think about it, the Latin community themselves have received a great deal of racism from the regular Grammys, right?
Mhm.
And it's to see that they don't feel the same way about other cultures in the way that the Latin music scene is completely mistreated by the regular Grammy community is just that much more heartwarming and kind, right? They're just that much
Absolutely.
more open-minded and cool to not care, right? The
Exactly.
music is the music.
The music is the music, period. Love it. Speaking of music, um, Anand, I want you to describe your sound as an artist. I know you said you do Latin, you do a little bit, but what else other sounds that you have as an artist?
So, wow. So the best way is that's a good transition. The best way to get into it is, I'm an Indian American playing a lot of Latin music, and then now it's kind of fused because I still do, last couple albums have been in English, but it's still that same sound. So it's very tropical and it's very pop rocky. So it's dubbed Latindian style because those two sounds really meld well, I find, right? Like, I mean, like a good, really fun Bollywood beats go really well with a fun reggaeton or salsa beat, like, and
Yeah.
just right. And it's just they fuse really well. Our cultures fuse really well. So musically, especially the older I get, I just keep going more and more. And it's been that way. When I was younger, I did a lot of rock and metal, and and I still love my rock and metal roots. I love my hair band roots. And I love
Yes.
my Rob Zombie roots, and I love that you actually know who that is.
Yes, I
And,
do. Artist and
yeah.
director.
Oh, totally. And it's those are still there. And I've done some obscure hair band covers, Latinian style, that nobody's figured out yet. But it's those are still there. But the older I get, the more romantic I get, right? And the more pop, dance, and tropical sounds keep coming out to me. So now it's pretty much full-time Latindian style, which is basically pop music that's tropical but radio playable, but that's got like Indian and and Latin instruments and band members going on.
I love it. Still staying to your roots, but blending in with different cultures. I love that. I love that. And honestly, it brings me to my next question on it. I want to make sure my audience knows where to be able to play your music and be able to check out more of your work. Where are you on social media?
Oh wow! Well, first and foremost, if I guess it counts as social now, is Spotify.
Yes.
Spotify is the best place. It counts as social now, even though it's kind of unidirectional of whatever messaging I'm putting out there to whoever's seeing it. But Spotify is actually probably the ideal way. And in spite of all the controversy they've had going on and people quitting, and every artist would say they would love to quit Spotify, but you know what? That's where the listeners are, and we really don't have a choice. So as long as fans continue to use Spotify, then we will continue to be on Spotify. So they get a lot of the updates first out of all those platforms. And Spotify has done a better job of putting out some personalized things and to followers and whatnot. But in terms of social, which I've been getting really bad at lately, I think post COVID, I got into this like YOLO mode and stopped taking care of my social. And like I just kind of like, I mean, I spent a long time where I even canceled internet wherever I was and just kind of hung out and lived life off the grid. But my social accounts are still there, so it's still Instagram and Facebook pages, and Twitter are still the big ones. I've been successfully avoiding TikTok until a sponsor makes me do it.
Right? I'm actually, yeah, I'm in full agreement with you on that one. Honestly, until a sponsor makes me do it. Until I'm forced to actually get paid to do this, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm right there with you. But I do highly encourage my audience, make sure you go follow on it on all Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you check him on Spotify, because we definitely wanted to see more of his work and his music for sure.
Right. And my name is not easy to spell, so I will leave it up to Simone to hopefully put things in a description to in this episode somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Got you
Because
covered.
if I read it out to you over the air, we'd lose everybody.
They're like, I was with them until they said that, then I had to stop. I was
They're
so
like, there's an
confused after
A,
that.
there's a couple of N's. Yeah, seriously.
All right. Going on to the number 6 question. What future projects are you involved with that you can just give a little dish about to the J Lounge audience?
What am I allowed to talk about right now? Let's see. Well, there is a new musical single that came out, which is actually bad timing. So I've got a song, Beat the Bullet, and that single came out very recently. It's not quite a future, but I'll get to that. But me on the cover of this is the cover of this single was shot at a gun range in the middle of the jungle in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
And so it's got me holding a gun on the cover. Little did any of us know that the whole world would go to hell by the time the single comes out. Like the week the single comes out, we are arguing over gun control in this country, right? So
right.
No, nobody saw that coming, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get my first MAGA QAnon fans this with me with a brown man holding a gun. I have no idea. I don't know, but I have no clue. But I encourage people to check that out and take a little humor with seeing me hold the gun on that cover. And I actually had fun shooting that gun. It's fun. I should admit this. I really shouldn't admit this. The whole, anybody listening to this, especially if you're like a high school kid, like that's not an encouragement to go out and get one by any means. But that being said, being in the middle of nowhere jungle, and keep in mind, it's not like I know what I'm doing. Like there was assistance cleaning and loading the thing.
Of course. So yeah, no, I get it. But these projects do sound very exciting. So definitely make sure you keep me up to date, because I would love to stay up to date, especially for the J Lounge.
Oh yeah. Oh no, definitely. And then I guess future thing I can talk about is we're just starting now planning to work on season 2 of the Rockstar Recipe show. And season 1 is on Amazon, but working things out where season 2 might end up on Roku. But there's a lot of planning for that. So a lot goes into doing the cooking show, right? So it's not like I'm jumping into that overnight. Like it's a crazy amount of planning that I never knew until I actually started doing it.
Oh, I think that's so fun. But these are exciting. So I definitely want to check out Rockstar Recipes. That does sound like a really good fun cooking show. So I'll definitely have to check that on out. But going down to the number 7 question, Anand, for first-time listeners of your music, what song would you suggest they listen to really understand you as an artist?
You know what? And especially now, I would say look up the song Freedom. One word, that's the title. And that is a good, fun, upbeat song about celebrating freedom. And it is very Latindian style. And it's
Ooh,
danceable. You got to dance to it. You got, I mean,
yes.
that's kind of the rule. If you put it on, you got it. Like, even if you're like at work, if you're working from home, you're golden. But like, if you're
Yes,
back in an office somewhere, I totally suggest you get up, start doing. They won't blame you. They won't blame you. Trust me.
Now, if you're at McDonald's now and that song comes on now, I'm not sure how your bosses are going to react, but go ahead and just do it anyway.
Just do it. Seriously. Seriously. They'll understand. Like put one earbud under their ear and they'll totally understand. It's a super fun beat.
They might enjoy you, so you might be lucky. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. All right, going on to the next question, Anand, I want to know, name 3 people who influenced your career.
Wow, just 3?
Just 3.
That is tough because
I know there's a million options and choices.
I mean, I'm super grateful. Like, and I don't think anybody can not say this sentence. There have been so many people throughout my entire life, right, that have been, right. Nobody can get anywhere without the help of everybody.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, I'm super grateful for everybody. I mean, down to like junior high and high school teachers who saw talent in me, right? Up to, well, let's start with the fun ones. We'll start with the fun ones that the audience might actually recognize. We'll go back since we mentioned it. Rob Zombie, I actually learned how to efficiently sign autographs through this guy.
Yes.
And there is an efficiency to it that I didn't know as a kid growing up. You just assume you're just going to sign your name, which, by the way, is a stupid thing to do because people can forge your checks. You don't sign your name the same way you do on anything, right? You need to come up with your own special deal that looks nothing like your real signature. And that's, that's lesson number 1. So I was pretty young when this happened. I want to say early 20s. And a local radio station in Chicago Rob Zombie was doing a signing for this local radio station at Tower Records. That's dating me now. Now we're talking the late 90s, early 2000s at this point, right? So like there's no record stores exist anymore for all your fans under the age of
they don't
30. Back in the day, there were actually stores where they sold physical music and celebrities will come in and do signings and there'd be lines out the door. Like you would ditch school, right? Like you would somehow literally play hooky from school and stand in line, go downtown and stand in line for hours to go meet like the Smashing Pumpkins or Rob Zombie or, Soundgarden or whoever, with Nirvana or whoever was big at that time, right? Because they would come in and promote the record. And they would sign autographs when they have a new thing coming out. And again, there'd be like a line at the door. And this is long before Me Too. So they're signing, teenage girls' boobs, so like it was a totally different world. So I get to come in. I'm invited by this radio DJ because I was on the radio at the time on a regular basis. And this radio DJ was like, dude, I know you're a Rob Zombie fan and you should come in and meet him. And of course, I'm like, this is super cool. And hold on, sorry. As I'm telling this story, my mic was giving me some sort of error.
No, you're good.
Okay. Sorry about that, listeners. All right, so back on track. So this radio DJ who was like the big radio DJ on this station was kind enough to be like, hey, Anand, come on in. I know you like this guy, right? Here's your chance. I'm putting you on the list. Come on in, right? So I'm feeling super cool, and I come in and I get to stand next to Rob Zombie and talk to him as this line of people that he's signing autographs for is going on for hours, right? So I'm there next to him while this happened. Obviously, I was too young; nobody cared for my autograph at that time, right? and especially Rob Zombie's there, right? But what's really cool is while this is going on, he's super nonchalant about it. So he's carrying on conversation because he's obviously done this thousands of times per day, every day, right? During his signing tour. And he showed me that how you take your form of initiative, you want something really quick. And I sat there practicing. He showed me how to do it, where it's not your main signature. You want something that's kind of like, he was kind of taking his initials and doing something that way. So I kind of copied that a little, where you just kind of take your initials and do something you can sign that looks like you, that stands for you, in less than half a second. Because especially back then, you're going to do a lot of them, and you're going to do a lot of them in a row, and you don't want anything that matches anything your important papers would see. And I thought that was really cool. I'm just, that's just like one of those experiences where you're like, wow, I'm really glad this guy is cool. This guy is imparting information to me. He didn't have to do that, right? Like that's just he got nothing out of it. I'm just this dude that the radio station promoting it, snuck in and standing next to him for 2 hours, right? Like that's, it was super cool of him, So, I've got to mention Rob Zombie. And you know what? That era of artist was super cool. So I've got a lot of moments like that. Most people won't remember the band Faith No More, but the guitarist from Faith No More took me under his wing and showed me the ropes on a lot of stuff, like how to register songs, what to do, which guitar I should endorse, when I was having options, which one should I pick? It was just really, really cool stuff that the older artists of that generation, right? The guys, when I say older, they're only about 10 years older than me at that time, right? Were really cool at, I don't want to say mentoring, but when they're with you, sharing that knowledge with you and taking you under their wing.
Yeah, that is awesome. First of all, that is amazing. I just, something about Rob Zombie just radiates just down to earth, low key, and just wise. There's just something about him that just looks wise. So
do you think he would be a weirdo? Like he was driving around in a hearse with a coffin in it or something, right? Instead of a limo, right? Like you would think he would be a freak. He was super cool. It's
Rob Zombie. He's got his own little, his own charm. It's Rob Zombie. Honestly, you gotta love him for being true to who he is. So honestly, all right, Anand, we just got 10 more minutes, but we are on the last question. I want to know, and of course my audience wants to know as well, what goals do you hope to still accomplish in your career?
Ooh, so I don't know if the audience is going to like this answer. So I'm trying this new thing where I am actually trying to avoid setting goals with my career and doing this whole Taoist thing where I'm letting it flow and seeing where it takes me now. Because that whole thing, the downside or upside, I don't know how you want to look at it, of achieving is every time you achieve something, you set a goal, you're like, that was cool. And then like the next day, you feel good. And then within hours later, you're like, all right, now what? Right. And it becomes this like cycle. And I'm not saying anything against goal setting in general. I'm just saying I've done enough of it where I want to try out this. Like I said, I'm in my mid 40s now, right? I don't know if that technically counts as the second half of life, but I want to know what the universe has in store for me next without me pushing it.
I completely understand. 100%. You're just releasing the control and just kind of letting wherever fate lands, it lands.
I just want to see. That's kind of how I ended up with a cooking show, right? So it's not something that I set out to do, right? So I'm curious on see what sort of adventures will come my way based on, whatever momentum that was already started with the, 30 years of goal setting that's gone on so far.
Yes, and I cannot wait to see where else it lands you as well on it. I really cannot wait.
You and me both, Simone, because I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, you have been an absolute blast to be able to speak with. I am so glad I was able to speak with you. I am so glad you were able to give me your time here and come on my show. I love the fact that you were on my show. It just shows that, my show is reaching worldwide, and I think that's awesome.
It is. This is a super fun show.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Of course, you guys know I highly encourage my audience one last time. Make sure you support Anand. Make sure you go on Twitter. No, I'm sorry. Did you say you were on Twitter?
I am on Twitter.
Twitter, yes, Instagram. Make sure, just not TikTok. That's only paid for only.
Yeah, if you go on TikTok and I am on there, it's going to be some nonsense that somebody paid for you to see. So I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, and Facebook. And yeah, just make sure you go out and support him because we definitely want to see more of his work and we definitely want to see where else, his journey takes him. So the sky's the limit. So there's endless possibilities and cannot wait to see what else Anand comes up with. So, but yeah, I want to thank you, Anna, for being an amazing guest. I want to thank everyone for listening in. Of course, you guys know I'm your hostess with the Moses, Miss Simone Jackson. I will be back with another great episode of the J Lounge here soon. I just want to thank everyone for listening one more time, and I'll be back soon.